Hello, I'm joined here today by Vice Chairman Alastair for a wee pre-season update, and it's on the back of some very good news with today's statement. Ray McKinnon staying at the club. Alastair, what have you got to add for that?
Well, obviously it's been quite a big 24 hours for us, quite an unsettling week if I'm being entirely honest. It's pretty straightforward. We always had an agreement with Ray that if a full-time offer came in, then we would be, we would allow him to go and speak and see what that opportunity would offer him. And we agreed. We spoke with the other club and gave them permission. Ray went down, spent some time with him. He was in constant contact with the club. We knew perfectly well what was going on. He was still in contact with the management team here. And after a few days, Ray became obvious to him that probably his first choice was probably to stay here. And over the last 24 hours, we continued the dialogue, and he decided yesterday that he would just jump back in the car and head home. So as a board, the players tonight, when they saw him coming back in, were absolutely delighted. I've spoken to a lot of the players. Everybody's really happy. The backroom staff's really happy. We just need to move on. Ray was a big part of this club. I think everybody has to acknowledge what he did when he came in November. We were in trouble. He turned it around. He had a fantastic January window. He's done really well for us. It's natural that he's going to attract attention, but that's a compliment, and it's not something we want to shy away from. But he's back. He's made his decision. We're delighted with it, and as you can see off the back of that performance tonight, the players got a massive lift for it, and it was a great performance and hard on the heels on Friday. And full credit to Steve Fallon and Mark Farrell and Wayne Henderson. They did a magnificent job for the club while Ray was away. So, but business as usual.
Perfect. We'll move on then. Off the field then, over the summer, it's been a bit busy. We've had the business development officer. What can you say about that?
Yeah, Tracy Cormay, well known in the town. She's a very popular person. She's done a little bit of work with the club in the past. She was an obvious choice for us. She's got really good connections. The work she's done already has been excellent. She's managed to get involved in some projects that we probably couldn't have got involved in. She's resurrected some old contacts that had probably lapsed, so she's done incredibly well for us, and she's very ambitious, and she's got some great ideas. We had a social function here at the weekend which was well supported. It was a ladies' Prosecco day. She wants to try and be a little bit more creative with that. We had to make this change. It's been something that the club's been thinking about for the last year. It is a move where we needed additional help out with the board. She has the contacts that we're looking for. The problem we've got is that the turnover that Forfar Athletic Football Club has been very similar to the last 4 or 5 years. It's hardly changed. But the costs attached to running a football club have increased significantly, and I mean predominantly the players' wages and the expenses have gone up significantly. You'll see clubs in leagues below us, 1-2 leagues below us, are able to attract players. Historically, they would never have been able to do that. It's just become a different situation for us to try and deal with. That's not going to change anytime soon. So we need to try and do things differently. The season ticket holders, we very much appreciate them. The people that do the player sponsorship, we really appreciate them. But we've got to find a different way of generating more income.
So just exactly what will she be bringing to the club, and what other avenues will you be looking at revolutionising?
Well, it will probably be our ambition to make sure that there's no business in the town that's left untouched, that we try and make contact with them, try and resurrect relationships that we've had in the past, try and forge new relationships. We're going to have to be try and be more creative in what we do with our corporate entertainment. The match day hospitality by and large gets sold out every season pretty quickly. Once that's done, we're going to have to try and think of different ways of attracting extra capacity, and we're going to look at that. We'll wait till the uptake is taken, and that usually happens pretty quickly. and then we're going to have to try and find different ways. That's Tracy's remit. I'm pretty confident that going forward she'll do a good job for us.
We'll move back to on the park then. We've had 2 pre-season friendlies so far, both very positive. We've got a very interesting League Cup section to come, not before friendlies against Formartin and Dundee under-20s. What are your thoughts going into the season?
Yeah, the Viaplay draw was very kind to us. It's quite exciting. 2 local derbies, which is good for us all. And then obviously Cowdenbeath first, and then quite an appetising prospect going down to St Mirren for the last game, and it's good. It just gets everybody quite excited again. Having had the summer off, and you get a little bit itchy feet, because it's nice to get the first 2 or 3 weeks, but you want to get back. You want to get back as quickly as possible, and then obviously today we were drawn against either Elgin City or St Johnstone Colts, so that'll be interesting too. So yeah, it's very good. The fixtures are out. Everybody's absolutely buzzing. We just can't wait for it to start. The little bit of uncertainty that we had with the manager has now been addressed. It's all settled down. Let's just move on, get the job done.
You mentioned earlier about Ray coming in November and turning our fortunes around. Just how big a factor does that trapdoor at the bottom of the league play on your mind and all the board's mind?
It's huge, absolutely huge. I think unless you've established a decent gap, in the top half of the league by sort of November, December time, then and you could probably relax a little bit. But there was, I think with about 4 or 5 weeks to go, there were still 5 clubs potentially were tangled up in the Club 42 position, and I feel really sorry for Albion Rovers, because they put together a fantastic season. I think they had 39 points, and in any other season they'd have been safe. And the pressure for us now, season after season, is to make sure we do not get caught up in that position. There's nothing you can do about it. It just happens. I mean, the clubs that have disappeared, the Brecons, the Cowdenbeaths, the Berwicks, they didn't do much wrong. They're just circumstances, and you can see how difficult it is for them to come back in. I mean, Brecon had a fantastic season last season, but they never quite made it. But on a different day they could. And it's very fine lines. So we've just got to make sure we can be as far away from that as humanly possible.
Of course, it's not just Forfar. It's 10, 12, 15 clubs maybe have to think about this, and the drop in finances that dropping out the league would mean.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you drop out of the SPFL, the leagues below are unfunded, so there's not a huge amount of money there, and that's where the move towards the Conference League. And I can understand why a lot of people were against it, but it had some merits in terms it was a funded league. I think it will come back again in some shape in the future. We just need to make sure that we just look after ourselves, and we're playing no part in that, to be honest.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Logan.
Thank you.